Welcome again, comrades, to our video cast that the Circle of Hope pastors are doing. Today it's me, I'm Joshua, with Nate and Johnny, and we're here to do a little, about 9 minutes of dialogue that's unscripted about a topic that comes up periodically. People ask us questions. We talk a lot in person, so we thought we'd try this little experiment out to see if we can generate some more dialogue and maybe make some new friends. So today we're talking about someone asked, why don't you pass the plate? Now, Johnny, you actually have had this conversation recently with someone, right?
Yeah, I was talking to my friend who's part of a different church, and she was telling me that at the front of the room there are different bowls or plates or baskets or whatever, and people walk up during the meeting to put in their money. And so, in some sense, it's something to watch and observe. And even if that's not the intention, there's got to be some self-consciousness about that or guilt if you don't go up, if you mailed your check and no one saw you. And so part of my reasoning for wanting it not to be passed around or something that's so public is because in the United States the issue of money is still a tender topic for people, and to make it so exposed right away could injure somebody and could actually limit them from connecting to Jesus.
Yeah, in our Proverbs, one of the things we say is that sharing our resources brings freedom and unleashes power. And I think we want people to tap into that, not be coerced into putting a couple of bucks into the plate. We're trying to fully participate in the imagination and responsibility of partnership with Jesus. And so we want to give the people the honor of being able to do that on their own as an act of worship, not as a something they feel like they're trapped into doing.
Yeah, I gotta say though, the thing I like about passing a plate, or the theory of it, is you realize that, like you guys are saying, it's part of worship. Our finances, they all belong to God. So when we're, especially in our society where money is so crucial, that is part of our worship. That giving, that generosity, and also just that you matter. When you show up, you matter. I mean, even when you're not there, you matter. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why to go beyond it. But that's kind of, I don't mean to like affirm the practice too much as the theory of having common fun sharing as part of our worship. So what do we do that's a little bit different? Johnny, you told a story about one church experience. What do we do?
Well, I mean, when we talk to people about being full-time partners and disciples, we talk about sharing our time and our heart and our resources. So part of the dialogue initially when making a disciple is talking about how we share things in common. You know, in the United States, things get their value because of their scarcity, but in the kingdom of God, things get their value because of their abundance. And we have in abundance because we do it together and we do it in common. And so I at least want to help people understand that they're a full-time partner in what we're doing, and so they participating fully keeps the thing going. If I need to beg someone to offer the resources or time or heart, I don't think they're really getting the big picture yet, and so I might be out of business just by having the dialogue and asking them to come. I'd rather present the whole picture and make them a full-time partner right away.
And of course, we have sharing boxes in the back of all of our public meeting spaces. I think we're also rolling with Jesus in Matthew 16 when he's saying, when you give, don't do it out in public because you're looking for a reward. I've had that experience where the plates come by and I've felt bad about myself. I like having the space where we can worship in secret, even in the midst of participating in the community.
I usually, if I'm somewhere visiting or something and they're doing that, I feel a little embarrassed. But what's kind of funny, but maybe not an appropriate way, is I've heard stories of people either taking a little something from the plate, or as it comes by, this one is even more. I've heard more times you pick up something that's in it and then put it back down, so it appears like you're doing it. And I think that's a real danger of that kind of ritual where there's so much pressure that somebody might even try to just deceive other people for looks or to look good.
And Johnny was also tapping in a little bit ago to the idea that you probably sent your check. I mean, we live in a world where, I mean, I do my sharing online. I have my bank send a check to Circle of Hope, and so nobody gets to see that. And I'm okay with that because I think it's still a participation in making the community work and making our common fund work and making our agreements work. And so people are working out their finances in all different kinds of ways. Like Joshua, I know you don't really carry cash usually, and so if we pass the plate, you might not have anything on you to even put in a plate.
I'll put in a helpful note or a suggestion.
It's a good point you're bringing up, Nate, because not only do people pay differently, there's actually some theology behind why you would want to give and contribute when you're outside of the meeting, because the meeting isn't the embodiment of all the worship we do, and it isn't the embodiment of the church. You know, we are the church, and so if you're only participating in the mission when you show up for an hour and a half on Sunday, and that's when you would give, there's a problem there too. We actually have to expand and let people, give them many opportunities to give in many areas of their life. I certainly like having the box there just as another chance, but in general, we're doing a fuller thing.
Yeah, that we are the church thing is so critical because there's not a group of 5 to 10 people that go out and set the budget, right? We do this together. We do this communal process of trying to listen and discern the Holy Spirit for direction and vision. So we come up with this map every year that have our basic goals, and part of that is the budget. And the money that we want to spend is always tempered with what people say they think they can contribute. Now we always build in, right, for some new partners or new disciples kind of getting ready to share, but the process is so much more communal and has that idea of we are the church. So when it comes down to passing a hat, it's kind of like, well, just share however you want to share, but you already said you're going to do it. So like this isn't a big thing. We don't need a special song or like a guitar solo.
Yeah, I think more than anything, I want to help people get into their fullness, and I want to honor them where they are. If you showed up at one of our meetings for the first time, and that's your entryway into Circle of Hope, I want you to be you. I don't want you to have to feel like you have to participate in anything you're not ready to participate in, because I want you to get in on a relationship with Jesus. And I don't want you to walk away thinking we perpetrated something on you. I want you to be a part of what we're doing at the level you can enter, rather than at the level you feel like you should enter or feel like people around you think you should enter.
We're definitely keeping the space, like Nate's saying, between safety and being challenging. That's the public meeting is going to have that tension all the time. So if you leave and you feel safe, we've succeeded in some sense. And if you leave and you feel challenged to pursue God in a new way, that's also good as well. So we keep that space even when we think about our money. A real practical reason why we would not pass the plate is so far we haven't had to do anything else. People have given as they were able, and a lot of people participate in this. No one's bankrolling this operation. People give as they can, and they're doing it in a subtle way that isn't coercive. And so far, so good. We haven't had to change, thankfully.
Yeah, and we're trying to embody community. So if there's just a bunch of kind of people, I hate to say random people, but people that are just kind of coming together that don't know each other, then maybe passing the plate is kind of like, well, we gotta do something about this. But when we have people who love each other, who have a sense of commonality at the base of especially the public meeting, then we're looking to grow up mature disciples of Jesus who can have an adult faith, who don't need to be reminded in like a way like where you have a bell ring or you send them a bill or you send them a something that even says like, hey, you have to give this much or else whatever. We try to handle those things personally and according to what our agreements are.
Yeah, and if you want that reminder, we can talk about it. You can set up a bill pay. You can set a regular check or a PayPal thing, like a lot of people do. So some people are going to need that discipline, and we want to provide you with that option too.
Nate, close us out with some of your thoughts.
be dignified. Share with Jesus out of love. Get into the mission and be a part of what's going on because you want to and you want to express yourself, not because you are coerced into it or think you should. Um, Enough?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for watching these or this particular video. We have a whole series on our YouTube channel. If you're into it, like, share it with your social networks, and subscribe. Thanks again. See you next time. Peace.